I'm probably gonna get some slack in the comments. I think as women, we have to start raising the standard to make these men get intentional about dating.
Ladies, if a man ever says, I just want to see where it goes.
Would it?
And that tells me you ain't got no vision.
Yep.
And if you ain't got no vision, I damn sure ain't in the vision because you ain't got it.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of All Love with Lawrence
and Keshia.
And we are here with a special guest, my friend, Shanise.
Hey, y'all.
Well, listen, y'all, this episode is going to be, as we love it, all about love. And Shanise is about to school y'all to some stuff,
yes.
All right? We don't just bring people on our show for no reason.
Period.
This
Buckle
personality right here about to put y'all on. You understand? So, all right, we're gonna roll into it. I'm gonna let you ask Shanise our first question.
Okay. So, Shanise, tell us a little bit about you, and then tell us who you are as a lover.
Yeah.
Like, what is it like dating?
Oh, okay. So, me as a person, let's see. I'm gonna give you guys generic answers, and then I'll start to get into like y'all see my personality. Love family, big family person, big people person. When I say people, I mean Black people. I love all people, but like I love us. Okay.
Yo, yeah.
As far as dating, I'll be honest with y'all. All right, here it comes. I literally just I won't say got out of, and y'all understand that later, but got out of my first like serious relationship. Before that, I ain't gonna lie, I was just, can you tell what
Yeah, you was doing you.
Yeah, you were doing you. You was enjoying.
Yeah, let me tell you. So I grew up in a very huge family. I have a little over 30 first cousins. A majority of them are males. So growing up, I watched like my cousins date females, and I just never wanted to be that female that they like talked about and XYZ. So like I low key became the male. So that's kind of how my dating style has been. It's like, multiple people at one time, kind of like want to be a player, XYZ. And then, I fell in love. So that happened.
Yeah. It happened to you. See, it could happen.
Cool.
Yeah, that's right. All right. So in that experience, and I mean, you don't have to drop any names or get too specific, but can you share a little bit about like, what are some of the experiences that you've had with love? Like, even in there when you were doing your thing, did you have any moments or experiences that led you to like want this love that you just got out of?
Yeah. I think that as I started to like grow, especially like mentally, I started to realize my vision or version of love was not love exactly, right? So I grew up with my grandparents. Most people who know me know this already. And I just didn't feel, now I definitely had the love throughout my family, but I didn't feel love, if that makes sense. So like my thought process of love was very tainted. And then as I started to grow and mature within myself, I started to recognize like, oh, some of these relationships that I have that I felt like were love, or were not love, were actually the opposite. So it took for me to like really grow up within myself to recognize what love is. And honestly, before my last relationship, I never even thought about marriage, to be honest. And then when I met this person, we had similar backgrounds. And it allowed for me to kind of like open my heart up a little bit. Because I can definitely say that my heart was closed off to like real true love. So it helped me to open up my heart a little bit and then to like experience myself in a different light, if that makes sense. Which helped me to like fall in love with this person, which even though as of right now it's like not working out, I'm very grateful for the experience because I never even thought that I would be able to do that. I never even knew that existed, to be honest. And I think one of the things that helped with that is like our communication in the beginning. Like I've never had healthy communication with the opposite sex, if that makes sense. So that was really like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Like he was vulnerable. That allowed me to be vulnerable. And that was really like the first steps to me opening up to love.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like prior to that relationship that you were emotionally available, or were you just didn't feel emotionally safe to open up prior to that relationship?
It's funny you said that because I just learned about like emotional availability, and that's even a thing. And I could definitely say that there's no way I was emotionally available. Like,
wow,
there is no way before him that, honestly, y'all, I passed up on some really good guys. Like, when I think about it, and I think all of them I've apologized to.
Wow.
And if I haven't,
that's deep.
My bad, because
right.
I truly was not emotionally available. And when those guys presented themselves, honestly, it scared me. And I can vividly remember like moments when I was talking to these guys and they were like getting a little too, and it's like, gotta cut that off. Cause I remember one of them saying that he loved me, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta get up out. I gotta head out.
Right.
So no, I was definitely not emotionally available. And to be honest, I don't know that I was truly like fully emotionally available for my most recent relationship. But I think that God had me in that space to like, okay, but I need you to go and like you have to experience. You don't get better at something usually without experience. So I was opened up just enough to receive the experience.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like sometimes like what is it? Failure breeds like character.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. It's like, you got to go through it. I love that. To know that like even in this relationship, we talk about this all the time. It's like you don't really go into a relationship fully healed or go into a relationship your perfect person, the perfect version of you. It's that, a real good partner is going to allow you to make your mistakes on them, and come back.
Oh, and that's deep, right? Because I feel like people don't talk about that. You have maybe like your aunts, uncles, grandparents, and they just tell you that, oh, marriage gets hard, but they don't ever give you like the details of like what that is. Or relationships are hard, and they never really give the details. And I think that right now, like in this moment today, that's what I'm learning is that like real unconditional love, like, and of course there are standards and boundaries to this, but real unconditional love, your partner will allow you to learn with them and grow with them. And before I got into the relationship, I was single for 2 years. Like like I didn't want to play around with nobody. I didn't want to just have people texting my phone just to like have someone texting my phone. Like I was very intentional about getting me together. And of course, like I ran into like people that wanted to date or XYZ, but like once I realized like, nah, that ain't it, I let it go. But I did in those 2 years have this vision like, okay, I have to be perfect. Like I have to get me all the way right before I could find somebody. And honestly, not that it came back to bite me, but in the moment, I think that was the best way for me to think. Even I thought that I was fully healed when I started to date him. And then I realized, like, girl, healing don't stop.
No.
And when you get with someone, now you have two people who have to continue their journey of, like, I won't even call it, like, healing, right? Just becoming better. Like, as human beings, we become better. And I heard this, I forget who said this, but like we are not human beings, we are human becomings if we want to be, right? Like we are constantly trying to become something, and then when you bring another person into your world, like you two together have to figure out. And that doesn't mean that you stop messing up, that doesn't mean that you automatically become this perfect person. That means that now you have this other person who low-key is a mirror.
Yeah. Oh,
if they're the right person, they are a
mirror. Oh, Lord. Yes. Keshia, you know what?
Period. Period, Shanise. Period. Yep. Sip your tea, your coffee, girl. Take that in.
Yeah.
It's true.
Processing time is 6 hours.
So yeah,
that's true.
I
Though.
went off on a tangent,
Yeah,
but
I love that.
yeah,
No, that's
that's great.
great. That is
Yeah.
so great. Thank you so much for sharing, because I feel like a lot of stuff that you said reflect on
yeah,
yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where people mess up. They don't want to look in the mirror.
yeah.
They don't want to start there. Shadow work is shadow work because that shit follows you.
Mm-hmm.
So if
It's
you don't
attached.
show up to that shadow, baby, you gonna miss it. And then you're just gonna keep reintroducing yourself to those toxic type of relationships until you stop and look in the mirror and said, wait a minute, is it me? What do I need to fix so that I can either learn to love somebody or stop attracting toxicity?
That part.
Right. Yeah.
And so when you were saying the adults that have been married for some time, they don't really talk about how you keep it going. It's because the truth is they got to look in themselves.
Yeah.
You know, and if they're family, who's going to tell you like their deepest, darkest secrets? You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's what I really feel it is. Like, tell me what you did. Tell me, like, where did you mess up? Let's get real with it, because I'm going to tell my kids straight up.
Right.
Look, this is what I did. This is where I am now. Started from the bottom. Now we here. So
Right. And that's even how our relationship started. It was very like everything out front. Yeah. It was like, well, here's all the things that's wrong with me. You want to go? you out or you in?
Yeah.
You know? And I think the more we stuck around, the more we realized like this person's safer and safer and safer to like, you know. And I think that's really the key, because like you said, it's working on yourself, but healing. I said this before in one of our episodes. Like healing, like people think healing means like you got hurt and then it went away. But healing after you heal, there's always a scar. And real healing is understanding that now that this is over, you will now carry this with you for the rest of your life.
Of you.
It is who you are, right? But you grew from it. You survived it. You know, that's true healing. And like you said, your mirror is going to force you. You know, every time my ego get real big, my wife, as you can see, I'm physically way bigger than her. But my
girl, I be popping that shit. I know pop that ego, like,
you know what I mean? And sometimes it's vice versa. Like,
not really.
I don't know about that, girl. Reel it in, you know.
Yeah.
But it's like when you realize that person can check you, and you can have your knockout, drag out, and then like, you know, heal your wounds together from the fight. It's like that's the person you're looking for. And I think that we all, as single people, have this idea of this perfect person, you know, this perfect image of, you know, this person's always loved me. They're going to do this for me and that for me. And it's going to be great. Like, no, you are equally sparring partners. But then once you spar and get good enough, now you both can box the world. You know, it's really what it is.
Yeah, that's so cool, though.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I mean, all right. Tell us about your last relationship, if you're okay with that. What were some of your main like takeaways from what you experienced? Let's say moving forward, what were some things you learned about your partner and about yourself that you can take with you in future relationships?
Yeah, I'll start with myself first, because I think it's important to not just put yourself first, right? Not that cliche, but I can also admit like my wrongs, right? I think what I learned about myself is that if I have to do this over again, I don't want to put certain parameters on it, right? I think social media has conditioned us now to believe in this one way of dating. And I've learned that when I put like, oh no, it should be this because whatever magical made up rule, I kind of let myself down. Like I could blame it on him and say that he let me down in these instances. But it was like me letting myself down because I had certain standards that were not of me. So when I start dating again, I want to be able to like take a look at the person, like actually get to know the person. So I did start therapy. I've been in therapy. I ain't gonna lie. I've been in therapy for years. But we started couples therapy when we started going through like our shit, right? Oh, can I cuss on here, y'all?
Yeah. Oh, you good. Okay. You good. You all good.
And what I learned is that, well, one, I was so like gung-ho of being in love that I didn't take the time to really sit down and look at his characteristics, look at his behaviors. What I think that had I done that, I would have caught some things sooner and saved myself some of the heartache. I don't think that was supposed to be my journey, so I think that's why I didn't. But moving forward, having learned a lesson, like, I have to be able to sit down and look at the person and, like, see them for who they are and respect that. And not try to change them and not try to make it be something that it's not, but actually, oh, do they got integrity? Oh, do they have, are they family oriented? Like, for real, like, really sit down and understand the characteristics instead of just being like, oh, well, they this and this, so I'm gonna go with it. Or, oh, they don't got this, so peace out. I think for me as well, y'all, I got an ego. And while it is okay for a partner to check the ego, sometimes we got to check our own ego. Because it's also not their responsibility. And so I'm understanding now that there are certain things that I have to check within me first. Like, I have to be able to do the shadow work first. And yes, a partner can show up as a mirror, but if you show up as a mirror, but like neither one of y'all understand what's going on, now it's this. So like really committing, that's what it is. Here it goes. Committing to doing the work before and during. Like, I thought that since we were together, like, all right, my work done. Like, I don't have to do anything. And then now I'm realizing, like, girl, whether it's him or somebody else, that work don't stop. So just recognizing that I have to continue to do the work. For him specifically, I think I learned that he had a lot more baggage than I recognized. And so now, like I told you all before, I am very much single. However, I am in the space where I'm trying to figure out, honestly, my faith has gotten a lot stronger through this process. And I have been like, we didn't talk for a while. And when we weren't talking, I was on Instagram a lot and I was looking at, different posts, and algorithms are real. Once they catch you on a couple, they sending you more, right? And so what was being fed to me was like, oh, he's this terrible person. He did this to me. What happened was not a good thing, right? But I really had to take a step back and say, whether you're religious or not, like, there is a God that I serve, and say, God, what would you have me to learn in this situation? Right? And so I'm learning now, like, as we are trying to figure out, like, which way do we go here, is that I have to be a little bit more open to what he's actually telling me, instead of, like I said earlier, trying to, like, make it what I want it to be, or not listening at all. I've got caught in the, like, oh, he told me this already. I didn't listen. So that's one thing 100%. I learned about him, is that, like, he had a lot more baggage than I assumed. And so now, as we're trying to move forward, I am trying to see, like, do I want that? Is that some baggage that I want? Do I want to help with that? Do I want to, because, on Instagram, they be like, oh, a female can't raise a man XYZ. Yeah. Which I agree, right? I do agree to a certain extent. But when you know that your partner, like, we don't all come from these, like, loving backgrounds. We don't all come from healthy love. So for social media to tell you that it should look one way, or it should look a certain way, it's like, that don't make sense to everybody. So because I know both of our backgrounds, like, that journey looks a little bit different, and now I know a little bit more of his background. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's a very mature way to look at it. It's like, understanding that, again, like you said, there's no cookie cutter. There's no like you said, we can even talk about that. There's a certain extent where you say like a woman can't raise a man, but there's also a certain extent where like a partner can't be at odds. It's like you two, you might, I might be a spender and you might be a saver. And then we get together, right? And then I'm draining a bank account because I'm a spender. Well, that's one thing. But if the saver is saving so much that they don't enjoy life, and the spender can show the saver, hey, there's more to life than just stacking your money and staying in the house. There can be a harmony, a balance to that. So there's no black and white. It kind of is like, and that's the tough part about dating and love. It's like everything is an experiment, 100%.
Facts.
Yo, there's no like this person's forever. And even in marriage and relationships, there's no guarantee of this person's forever. Even your husband can be for a season, And so just to respect whatever that experiment is, and understanding when it's over, or understanding when there's a break and you need to get back in, or understanding when to run for the hills, And I feel like, the one thing that really helps relationships, in my opinion, is boundaries. If you have a clear boundary for what you want up front, I think that sort of sets the tone of how you want to be treated. And when people cross those boundaries, it's like, I told you this, here you are, I'm done. You're obviously not for me.
Yeah.
Accountability, integrity, like these are things that are like imperative to a relationship.
Do you have a list of non-negotiables?
I don't have like a running list, but there are some non-negotiables for me.
I think that's so important. Like when you talk about boundaries, of course, we all have boundaries, but it's like there's some things, like you said, do I really want to deal with that? Do I want to accept that? And then there's a hell no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times, sometimes we teeter, especially as women, because we kind of lead with the heart. And so it's like, I understand, but do I? Okay.
Yeah.
That was my experience, before him. It was just like, man, I don't want to hurt their feelings, but I really don't really care for that. And then you end up settling, and then you're like, well, damn, here we are, just. So I think having like that, not like a physical list, I guess, but that mental non-negotiable is very, very important.
I think that I've definitely created a new one, especially going through this experience, right? And now I'm like, oh, sis, no, like you got to stick to like these non-negotiables. Like, and people will say, obviously, and I don't think this is so obvious, but like, yeah, I'm not gonna say
that. Well, no pressure, but it's true. I think if you said it right, there are people who like, there's two types of men, in my opinion, and don't kill me in the comments, fellas, but like, there are two types of men. There's a man who you set a boundary, or you have a non-negotiable. Let's say that they hit and they find that out. They're either gonna say, I mean, I'm me, I'm gonna do me. So either you're gonna be with me or not. And there's another man says, man, there's something here. What about me can I address? What about me can I change? How can I meet that expectation? In a compromising way. It's not changing who you are, but it's to say, well, if I want this to work, I can't put my square peg in this round hole. I've got to kind of round the edges out a little bit and see how we can come together. Because at the end of the day, when you're done with this relationship and you look back on it, it's a whole different thing than what you thought it was. It's not, you and the other person coming together. It's you, the other person, create this weird thing. It's this shared vision of life together, and I think if you're not on that wave, if that person's not on the same wavelength as you from day one, it probably isn't that way, and every attempt at it can feel forced. And that's why I feel like intuition is a big part of it too. I don't know if you agree with that. Like,
well, you know how I feel about accountability.
Oh man!
If you ain't accountable, I'm out. Period. I don't have time for this. I don't. Because like I have children. If I want to play, I will go play with them. I'm not finna play with you.
She crazy.
I got 5 different children. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'll go play with them, but I'm not going to play with you. So I just kind of need you to be accountable.
Right.
And when you think about it, just that little thing by itself, accountability will teach you so much about a person, their character, their intentions, their integrity. I heard you say integrity. That's a big one for me too. You know, so just kind of like your non-negotiables and how can we move forward. And I love that you mentioned therapy. I don't know that I've heard of many couples going to therapy outside of like them already being married.
Right.
So
you're jumping ahead. You guys actually shared a vision of a future because, you know, most people won't invest that time in something that they feel isn't going to last or not serious.
Yeah, I definitely have never been to therapy with anyone that was not my husband.
Yeah.
I have, but it was a waste of time. And so hence why I'm not with that person. But, you know, it's neither here nor there.
I can't.
I mean,
but yeah.
I won't say that it's been a waste of time. Honestly, low key, I would do, if I had, you know, moving forward, I would do it again. Because I think while you say a waste of time, I think it's a time saver.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Because
for you, I could see that too, though. But for you, I understand.
Okay, so I want viewers to see, though, that, like, there is not ever one answer, right? Like, for you, waste of time. And for me, I think save time, you know what I'm saying? Because now I couldn't imagine moving forward in my previous relationship not knowing what I know now. Because if I was to be married and have children and not know what I know now,
oh yeah,
right,
y'all might catch me behind some sales. Because
look,
so I think
that's so true.
It was important for like me, which is why I say, and if you guys don't mind, there's this book that I started reading called The Gentle Woman. And I would recommend anybody, honestly, male or female. It's written from a man's perspective about a lady, and you can take what you want from it. But there was some really good gems in there. And one of the things he said, let me
take your time.
Friends, Shanise is an intellect. Just period. You know,
I am.
If that's a
fellas, don't drop it in the comments. Don't worry. Don't drop your number in the comments. We'll give you a chance to be able to reach out. Chill, hold your horses. Just keep watching.
Waste of time, worth the time. Not
okay, so this says the bad news is that the world's standard of right and wrong keeps on changing. The good news is that God's standards never change, right? And so when I read that specifically, that kind of gave me that, like, all right, Shanise, you got to follow your own path. Like, you got to talk to your God and figure out what you need to do, which is where, like, therapy came out for me. Like, okay, try this. You understand, like, you know what God told you. Try this, and I would absolutely do it again as a preventative measure. Like, I am very much like, I want to try to prevent. We can't prevent all the pain. Like, we can't prevent all of that, right? But like, for as much as I can, like, that's what I want to do. So, for me, that was helpful. Therapy was helpful. Couples therapy was helpful. To go through the process. Was it easy? Hell no.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So it's not for the weak-hearted. If you don't feel like it's worth it, I definitely say don't go. But if you feel like it's worth it, even maybe not as like a couple, but even just for you, do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
All of us have been in therapy.
For sure. Yeah, and benefited from it greatly.
Absolutely.
Personal therapy, for sure. And I believe in relationship therapy as well. I think that it's important to get ahead, even if you're doing good in your relationship, get ahead of those things. Because to be honest, it only takes about a few different things to end a relationship, you know what I mean? or to start the end.
Yep.
Right.
Especially when you get comfortable in a relationship. Like,
because I be looking at you like,
and I'm like, she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere.
I don't think she is either, Lawrence.
I'm a catch. Thank you, Shanise.
Oh, watch it. She a catch. She the catch.
No, she a whole catch.
Yes.
You are something else.
Anyway. All right, Shanise. So, what are some things that, like, now that you've learned, in your therapy personally and in a relationship and having that experience of going through all these things, what have you learned differently, like, that you can take into the next one, that you can find in your next relationship? Like, what can you bring to it from this experience?
So, like, what I'm looking for?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like what experiences, like, so now that you've been through this, what can you take to your next relationship as like a plus, like a bonus, something that the next man won't have to deal with that the last man may have had to?
Okay. I don't want to.
I ain't trying to stump you on this.
Yeah, I don't want to just give like a vague answer.
Sure.
Yeah. What is your ideal partner? Let's go there. Like, if you could build a bear, what would that look like as your partner?
Oh boy, don't say Kofi, please, because that's what she would say.
Period.
Big Sean. It's Big Sean for me. If I could, he here. Janae got him, so it's fine. But it would be that. No, seriously. To answer like the first question, I want a man that has like not a sensitive side, but a sensitive side to him. Meaning, like, I don't want that like tough macho, like I have to be like the head, and I don't like that. And maybe because I am that way a little bit, but I need someone that is going to be like even kill for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind that in certain situations. Example, like, if we drive somewhere separately and you leave before me, like, that's a red flag for me. Like, I still want a man and like a leader, but I don't want like authoritative, do as I say type. Like,
no punk.
Yeah, that don't work for me.
Right.
Yeah, I'll stick to that. I'm really trying not to. I definitely have a type. I definitely have a parameter for what I'm looking for, but I am trying to be a little bit more open. Like I said, my heart was closed off for so long, and I think even in this last relationship, like, it opened up a little bit. But what I'm learning is like I have more room to expand in that sense, which is why I'm reluctant to just answer the question, because I don't want to spell myself into a box, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
What was the second part of the question?
Oh, she was saying, like, well, you go. I'll let you explain.
What is your ideal partner? Yeah. Like, what would that look like if? Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And not just physically attributes, but like what attributes?
I need somebody that enjoys learning, like actively learning. I can't do the stagnant, just like, I need some, as you said, like, I am intellectual. Like, I need to be mentally stimulated. I need to have conversations that are not about the same thing all day, that are mentally stimulating, that are about some type of growth. Like, I need that. And I've learned that more now than ever. I have to have it. It is better than sex to me. And if I don't have it, it's not going to work. I need somebody that likes to, I love the park. I love the park. So I need somebody that likes to go outside, likes to be active, likes to be around people, but also doesn't mind sitting in the house every once in a while. Like, just that well-rounded, family, nature, intellectual person, man. Like, I absolutely need that. I don't want somebody I have to babysit, or somebody that, like, I have to spark a conversation. Like, I have to start the conversation. Like, I want the conversation to just be like, hey, I seen this, or I heard this, what do you think about that? And then the conversation just flow. Like, for me, that is everything. Like, that is literally everything. And that's probably like one of the biggest things for me is I need somebody that can, like, on a mental level, meet me and grow with me, because I don't plan to stop anytime soon. You know what I'm saying? Right. I plan to continue to learn and grow and expand my mind and expand my thought process. And I need somebody that, you know, they want to do that as well. Like, that's their heart posture, not them just trying to be that way for me, but like that's who they are as well.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like kind of the conversations that we used to have. The same thing was like, you know, like sometimes you get so many offers. I feel like God does this to people. It's like he'll throw all the like eye candy and all the things you think you want, all the things that when 10 years ago you might have jumped all over, and you know, and then every time you say no, and like you said, you took that time for yourself, and that's when you found that relationship. Every time you say no and choose to work on you, you get closer and closer to that one. Because I feel like when I met her, I was in that space where like I was like, man, guarding myself from like even dates. I'm like, I'm not even dating, bro. I told my therapist the next woman I date is my wife. Yeah. And she laughed at me. But like, to be honest, like it happened. Literally, the next woman I dated was my wife. Yeah. And so I was just so intentional about getting me right. So when I met my person, that I could bring like a whole version of me and get rid of all the emotional baggage that I took from my past relationship. Yeah. You know, like I prepared myself. Yeah. And I think that that's important too. It's like when you're finding that partner, you have that idea or image. I love that you said you were open, because like I don't think you meet the exact perfect person. You meet a version of the person that you kind of create and manifest in your mind. Yeah. And then as a part of it, that's a surprise. You know?
And then you guys grow together. Yeah. But I mean, if you don't have no substance, we ain't got no conversation.
Right.
And
Can't
if
just
you
look at
text
you all
me what you doing more than
I'm a head out.
I'm out.
Oh, you should tell her that famous line you used to get when she was dating. She told me all the time when she was dating, she used to get so I just want to see where it's gonna go. Like I just want to see where it's going.
If a man, ladies, if a man ever says, I just want to see where it goes, run. He ain't got no plans for you, boo.
Yo, because you gotta know.
Because if your vision is not marriage eventually, then what are we talking about? Yeah. Right. Now, if you guys want to do your thing, DTF, whatever, say that. Yes.
Yep, make that clear. Right.
But if I'm telling you that I'm looking for marriage and you don't know, then we already not on the same page. Right. Do not waste your time.
Right.
You know, and then the whole making you feel bad, you know, in my experience, it was, oh, so you trying to tie somebody down ASAP. And I'm like, nah, I just want to know where you're going, your vision, your foresight. And that tells me you ain't got no vision. Yep. And if you ain't got no vision, I damn sure ain't in the vision, because you ain't got it. So, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Run. If he has no vision, run. Yeah. If he is telling you, I want to see where it goes, that means he don't even see you going as a possibility.
No, that's all real.
Yeah.
That's all very real.
And then sometimes men get offended. They're offended. They're like, oh, you want to tie somebody down? You want to be in a relationship? No, we want to know where your head is, but maybe the intellects, you know, that's just our thing. You know what I mean?
Right. And also we fall victim to a lot of the, you know, the traps of like, well, but she is kind of cute. You know what I mean? Like she is like, you know, I'll see. I mean, I have this vision of what I want, but I'm willing to compromise because I never really dated nobody like that. Or like, you know, you get into that whole like, well, I guess let's just see and maybe I can convince him. You know, it's those little things when we settle on ourselves, like from what we truly want.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's the importance of that shadow work that you were doing. Like that you're like, no, we're focusing on me, you know, and doing that part, knowing exactly what you want and setting those boundaries early, literally manifest the person you want, I feel.
Yeah.
It's like, you're like, no, it was nice, but I know what I want. You don't know? Yeah. Cool. But
and that's the difference between intentional dating and then just like dating. You know, I recently got back on Hinge, and one of the guys asked me like, you know, something to the extent of dating. And I said, well, now I'm focused on dating intentionally. And he was like, what does that even mean? Right there, I knew, like, all right,
whoa,
you're not it.
You're on a
But to
dating
kind of
site, you don't
explain
know
it
it.
to you, because I'm here now, like really knowing what you want and seeking out that, and not just aimlessly dating and talking to anybody. And I think that has been one of the biggest things for me, is like, I can tell now when someone is intentionally dating and when someone is just on an app to have people to text, to have people to call. Maybe they might find somebody, but they're not looking. They're not being intentional about what they want. And I've also learned that just because they are being intentional about what they want doesn't mean that they are the one or a one to try to move forward with, which is where those like boundaries and characteristics and that examining of the person comes into play. Because they can be intentional about dating, but still not be the person that you're looking to date. So I've kind of learned that, like, a lot, I won't say a lot of males, maybe it's just like what I'm attracting, but I think in our community specifically, males are, let's be honest, they're not taught to date intentionally. Right? They are not even most of I want to watch my words. I won't say this isn't a general sense. I think that males are taught to, you date a lot of women, like they're praised for that kind of stuff, right? They're not taught to, one, get to know yourself and then go find a wife intentionally. It's, oh, I'm gonna just date until I guess they think they are magically run into that person. But if they're not willing to date, I think as women, I'm probably gonna get some slack in the comments. I think as women, we have to start raising the standard to make these men get intentional about dating. They don't have to do it because we don't set the standard for them to do it. And if we don't set the standard, no, they ain't gonna do it. But we as women all have to be on one accord, which that's a whole nother.
That's right. And I'm telling you, I think that even with men, like one fuck boy sets 10 good guys back every time.
Yep.
You make it much harder for a woman to open up, to you when you are intentional, because of the dude who played that he was you just to get it. You know what I mean? He got it. He dipped. And now here I come with the same, not game, but it sound like game now because the last guy said the same thing.
Yep.
I feel like that's how it is. And that's why, again, it's like, it's important to vet them out. If the date is important, going on a physical date is important because now I get to see how you carry yourself, how you interact with the waiter, like all these women walking by you while I'm sitting here, now is them eyes gonna move, like, do you have enough respect to come here with your pants pulled up? And same thing with men. With ladies, it's like, is she gonna come here with everything hanging out? You know what I mean? Is she like gonna wait for me to? Okay, well maybe. I mean, some of them fellas.
Low key men love that, and that's one of my favorite things about you. You're like a gentleman. You know what I mean? But that's so like regular stuff, really. I feel like I would never do it, but some women like to flaunt what they have.
And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that either, especially if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Because there's some guys that's out there doing the same. Right. If you want that, that person's aligned with you. But the thing you don't want is like to know that you're investing time or you're investing your, intellect on someone who is literally keeping their options wide open. They have no intention on looking for anything serious. Bruh, go put that on your profile. Like,
I'm wide open.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I don't know.
Dating,
I think that
kudos to you, girl, because dating is mentally and emotionally exhausting. It can be so exhausting. So
and the streets out there is rough.
Oh man.
Yeah, but I think first of all, before we get out of here though, we need to let y'all know, like she said, Miss Shanise is single at the moment.
Ready to mingle a bit.
You know what I mean? As you can see, she's healing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she has her head on straight.
Yeah.
And we gonna drop her IG,
Shanise, tell them your IG.
Shanise_Monet. Shanise spelled SHANISE_Monet. Monday without the D. I'm all right.
Right. We might even put a little. I'll add it to the video just so you guys can get it, just in case you missed it. You know what I mean? I don't want no DMs from y'all like, what's her name? Where's she at? You know.
Just don't come over here with no. Don't come over here with no.
Yo, come correct. I'm correct.
I have learned to kindly dismiss people, so it will be kind. But
right,
stay over there if it ain't.
Right,
you know.
Come on. Right, don't get blocked, because if she blocked you, you block from here too. I'm just gonna let you know right now. That's how we do it.
I can't. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your courage, your honesty.
Yes.
Your healing, your journey. We love it all. Thank you so much for being here.
That's right. Not easy to get up in front of a camera, have people watch this, but we do feel like our viewers can have some dialogue, but also can learn a lot from some of the things you said, because we're all on along a different path in love, you know, and a lot of the mistakes that are made are because we didn't check in with an auntie or a cousin or someone who is married or, you know, that been through it. We just, you know, go through it blindly and have to figure it out. You know, so these stories help, I think.
And that's one of the things I'll say to like sum it up for me is, one, be honest with yourself, and where you're at in your journey, and don't be afraid of that honesty, even if it is scary. And also, if you have someone that does come to you, like, tell them the truth. Obviously you ain't got to put all your business out, but like, be honest so that they can actually take that information and internalize it in a way that can be helpful for them, versus us just aimlessly on Instagram and listening to who and whatever. Tell your loved ones the truth and be truthful to yourself.
Yeah, love that. For real. Drop the mic on that one. Shanise, thank you again.
Yes, thank y'all for having me.
For sure. And guys, thank you for watching. Drop your comments in the comments below. Let us know what y'all think. I mean, if she touched on something, which I know she did, y'all go ahead and put y'all 2 cents in there. Shanise might be in the comments too. You know, just try not to clap too much, all right, y'all. But
don't worry,
but like always. But guys, thank you again. As always, we call our viewers the lovers. Thank you, lovers, for tuning into this. And we'll be back with another one soon. Peace.